Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, May 26, 2026 meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. This hearing of the Ayer Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom, meeting ID 978-772-8220, or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Danny Ruiz, Town Planner, at druiz@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 144 prior to the meeting. First order of business, before the first order of business, is I want to congratulate the two newest members of the Planning Board, Peter Cush, over to my left,
Okay.
and Dave Cyborg to my right. Hello and welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you both.
The second thing is I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one change. I'd like to add meeting minute approvals for, what's the date, April 14th?
Yes.
Oh,
Is it April 14th? For the
Yes.
April 14th, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Dave?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye, the agenda is approved. Traditionally, after elections, we have our reorganization. Which is, we have the three formal slots of chair, vice chair, and clerk, plus we have other responsibilities for planning board members to sit on working groups and subcommittees.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's on the table is to have the experienced board members assume for another year their current slots, with myself as chair, Ken as vice chair, and Julie as clerk.
So the way it would have to work is, because as of right now, we only have a chair, which is you.
Okay, so we need
So
a nomination.
there would need to be nominations and then a vote.
Okay, so before, I just want to get a kind of straw poll kind of on that before we enter the formal discussion, unless Peter or Dave have a real desire to fulfill one of those roles. My feeling is certainly you could throw your hat in the ring, but I think it's a good idea for the first year to just kind of learn the ropes, if that makes sense, because there's enough complexity here with the material we deal with to give you plenty to do. Does that sound reasonable?
I can't type, so I will never be clerk.
I will
Well,
not
as
be
it turns
typing,
out, our minutes, we have Heather does our minutes. So the clerk doesn't have to do our minutes. What does the clerk do?
Well, so Heather only will be doing the minutes for another 3 meetings.
Oh, is that so?
As of July 1st, we will no longer have a minute taker. We are currently looking at options on how to address that internally.
Okay.
But potentially the clerk may need to have to take some meetings.
Oh, hell no.
I know.
Now, what about?
But internally, we're gonna figure it out.
Now,
he'll do it. Yeah.
What about the work?
That's the
I
direction.
would for other groups, I will
Yes,
not for this group.
Just-
I actually wouldn't. It's okay, we won't get into
Yeah,
why
so-
I didn't before.
Dragon.
Understand. So just so everyone knows, we are looking at doing an AI system that would do it. But we're working on that.
We have plenty of time.
We have plenty of time, correct?
In addition to those three slots, what are the working group commitments and other?
So the working group's information, we will do at a separate meeting.
Do it at a separate meeting?
Yeah, just because there's going to have to be, I'm going to have to sit down with all of the members and kind of figure out what do you want to continue working on, what don't you want to continue working on, what would you like to be considered for, and that's going to take some time.
That's fair. I mean, I know, Peter, you expressed interest in housing. So as one possibility, you might be interested in being the representative on the Air Housing Trust, for example. But we can discuss that.
Yeah, we have several open positions right now.
Okay. So,
And
Do
have we
anyone need-
continued the conversation that I have put forth to the select board and the town manager, that there should not be this many requests to the planning board to serve on all of these roles, because we have a wonderful town planner and we have other ways of doing these things, but I think it's a little extraneous what is asked, especially when some of these boards that don't meet are asking for 2 members of the planning board to be on them. Is that
I-
conversation still happening? And I'm not, I'm
I-
really asking you that to make sure that that gets vocally.
I can push
I will
that.
send more emails
Yes,
again,
yes.
but
If you could.
there's no other board that gets asked to be on 17 other things. And
Part of
I'm
that,
very grateful for you both to be here, but I also, if I were them, would feel extremely like horrified that I'm finally here and now I'm being asked to do 7 more roles.
Only 7?
There's
So,
more, yeah.
Julie, I do
I'm-
appreciate that, but I just, couple things I want to say. Yes, I do, but it's not that many. And it ends up, each of us usually does one.
So the
and I-
Devon's Commission has 2 expected to be on that board, and I have yet to have an answer from the select board, this board, or the town manager,
Right.
why there is a need for 2, let alone even 1.
And right, and I think there are causes for discussion about specific commitments, but I don't want to create a blanket impression that we have gazillions of meetings to attend, because it's not true.
Well, if that was not true, then people would have heard my complaints and addressed them earlier, because if it was that easy to address, it would have been addressed.
Okay, I guess the ultimate thing is, for good and ill, the planning board is the center of a lot of stuff. It's land use. And when you come to a town, land use is, boom, at the center.
So people are a rarity as much as land.
I get it.
And so we can have this conversation here,
We
or we
can.
can have it offline, but it needs to be had, and I'm
And we
tired
will
of
have
it
it
not
offline.
being had.
Okay. You have been heard. Thank you, Julie. So that brings us, do we need to have a nomination for chair and formally vote that into?
Yes.
All right, where do we start?
I'll nominate Jonathan Crans for chair of the planning board for the next 12 months, right? Next, till the next election,
To the next reorganization, let's say.
yeah, next reorganization.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Would you like to continue
Yes,
serving
I
as
would
chair?
be happy to serve. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken, how do you vote?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes,
Chair votes aye. Thank you. I appreciate
thank
it.
you.
I'd like to nominate Ken Diskin for vice chair.
Second.
Would you accept the role as vice chair?
Yes.
Yeah. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
And chair votes aye.
Do you want to be nominated for clerk?
I think there's discussions that I clearly would like to have that haven't been had yet. So if that could be something we wait on having, I would appreciate that role stay open, or we discuss someone else wanting it till the next meeting.
I'm okay
Can we
with that.
defer to clerkship? the next
I'm
meeting?
okay with deferring this until the next meeting.
Okay, let's just make a note that we have the chair and vice chair. We just need to vote on that, on clerkship.
Thank you.
We can do
Okay,
that.
great. 8 and 9, and I believe that we have a letter from Dan Van Stalkwick, the DPW director,
Yes.
approving this request. Should I read it into the record? Is it necessary? Or?
If you want to.
It's not that, it's not that long. So this is dated May 6, 2026, the Air Planning Board from Dan Van Skalkwyk, DPW Director. Regarding Panther Place subdivision request for covenant releases, lot 7, 8, and 9. Dear board members, the developer of the Panther Place subdivision, Mr. Joseph Levine, has requested the release of the covenants on the lot 7, 8, and 9. Please receive the below from DPW review of this request. All main water and sewer infrastructure within the subdivision has been substantially completed. All water and sewer service line stubs have been installed. Portions of site work remain, including but not limited to drainage, grading, curbing, sidewalk, street trees, plantings, and top course paving. Notable recent work includes substantial construction of drainage basin west of lots 8 and 9, substantial construction of the cul-de-sac rain garden on Gaskins Lane, additional curbing installation of sloped granite curb around the cul-de-sac at Gaskins Lane. There are 26 lots in the subdivision, and 16 have been released of their covenants, leaving 10 lots currently under covenant for the construction of the subdivision. Lots 7, 8, and 9 are substantially constructed. The release of these lots will result in 7 remaining lots under covenant. The developer submitted a schedule of values on December 1st, 2025, for which the approximate remaining subdivision work is estimated at $116,000. After revising the SOV for work completed since December 1st, 2025 to today, I estimate the remaining subdivision work at approximately $84,500. Based on the above, I support the board releasing the covenants on lots 7, 8, and 9. As further covenants are released, there may come a time to switch to cash surety, similar to Riley Jane Farm subdivision, to cover the remaining work. In future covenant releases, I will continue to monitor the schedule of values. If you have any questions, require any additional information, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Dan Van Skalkbeek. All right. Any comments or questions from the board about the release?
No.
No? Public comment necessary?
But yeah, you can open up to public comment.
Anyone from the public have any comments on the covenant release? On Zoom?
Don't see anybody on
Good.
Zoom.
You have to be knowledgeable.
Hearing none, I take a motion.
I make a motion that the Air Planning Board release the Panther Place subdivision request for covenant releases for lots 7, 8, and 9 in accordance with the letter submitted by the DPW Director Dan Van Skelquick.
I'll second.
Seconded.
I'll give it to Julie. Julie seconded it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken, how do you vote?
Aye.
Peter? Aye. David?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
And chair votes aye. The release is approved. Next item is, I believe this is continued public hearing, right? For 7, 13, and 15 Park Street Air Family Pharmacy is the app. Hi. Come on up, please. Danny, can you bring us up to date from where we left off at the previous meeting?
Yes. So at the previous meeting, there was an introduction by the applicant and the engineer on the overall plans. We did not get too much further into those because we needed responses from the applicant. They had just received all of the comments from the department heads. We did receive back revised plans as well as comments, revised responses to comments from the applicant on all of the department head comments. We did not receive, I sent those out to all of the departments. We did not receive back any additional comments or questions from the other department heads. So I think what I would do is have the applicant kind of just go through some of the bigger changes.
Yes, that would be great.
All right, Brandon Ducharme with Dave D. Ross here on behalf of Ayer Pharmacy. And as you mentioned at the initial meeting, we kind of went over the project description. We filed an application for site plan review. We're in receipt of all the comments from department heads, which we have submitted a revised set of plans, as well as we have a comment response letter. Just for those of you that weren't at the last meeting, basically the project intention is to provide additional parking for Ayer Pharmacy. They have an existing parking lot on the left-hand side of the building, which has proven to have inadequate amounts of parking for their needs. So they had purchased the property on the right-hand side of the building with the intent to create additional parking, which we've filed a site plan that provides an additional 10 spots. Probably the easiest thing is just to kind of go through this comment response letter. I assume most of you have it in front of you. The first comments here are from the town engineer, DPW. The initial application, we had paved sidewalks consistent with some of the other sidewalks in that area. It was the preference of DPW to provide concrete sidewalks. So we've gone through and we've actually revised the plans and construction details to reflect that change. There was a comment regarding, if you look at the plan, there's a section that goes beyond our frontage where we essentially show a proposed sidewalk between Park Street and the proposed parking lot that terminates where the frontage of the applicant ends. And there was some discussion as to a continuation of that sidewalk. And I think at the last meeting, the applicant got the contact information for the town manager. They're open to discussions about incorporating that, but obviously there just needs to be some discussion as to how that's all going to happen.
Can you read this? So the note, see it says proposed 5-foot wide paved sidewalk right there.
Yep.
I thought he talked about it. It's the note that you had changed it to concrete.
Yes, concrete.
And
I think, yeah. It says paved. I think
It's the same.
Okay.
it's just more the term as opposed to
Oh, no.
asphalt.
I think
Like,
Yeah, no, that's,
it
should be changed.
It should be changed.
yes. And it should be labeled somewhere else as concrete, because I know I didn't see that one. But yeah, concrete there, yeah, just right there, yeah.
Okay, so you need to clean up that other note too,
Yep,
so they
this
match on the
This
other
one would
side.
need to be.
So, and again, there's construction details on
Okay,
the other sheet there that specify
And
how those concrete sidewalks will be constructed.
and regarding the extension of the sidewalk, would that conversation be resolved before you craft the decision for the next meeting, or no?
That would be something that would need to be addressed prior
Okay.
to the decision.
Okay. And that'd be a conversation between...
Or at least there may be a condition that might have to be
Okay.
discussed.
Yeah, my thought would hopefully be maybe a condition, just because obviously they've got a need to get this parking in place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're...
It's been a few weeks now, and I don't know where that's going to go, but they're open to obviously
Mhm.
whatever they can do to help. One of the comments, there's an existing utility pole that's located within the proposed sidewalk, and the comment was really just verifying that we're required to provide a 3-foot access way between the pole and the edge of the sidewalk. So we just provided that the sidewalk as proposed provides 3.2 feet, and there's been a label on the plan also that's again specifies that it's a minimum 3-foot access way through there. That's for ADA standards. The question of signage, particularly as you come into the parking lot, I think the question was really just, do we want any proposed signage? And I know it came up at the first meeting in regard to the fact that this additional parking area does not provide ADA spaces, given the fact of the existing site grading in order to comply with that. And they have sufficient ADA accessible parking on the existing parking lot. So we've added
So I was just asking for a sign that would just make sure people arriving would know which side to go on if they needed one of the ADA. Okay.
Yeah,
There's
so we've
proposed
added.
signs.
So you do have a proposal for that?
It says
Yes, yep,
proposed
so
signs.
on that signpost that will be located within the back edge of that sidewalk, it'll do a couple things. The other concern was it's going to
great.
specify
Oh,
that it's
thank
for
you,
customer
yes.
parking only,
Great.
as well as directing anybody
Perfect.
that requires
Thank
ADA
you.
to use the second lot. There was an existing manhole which now shows on the plan that was a sewer clean out for what was the previous new car building that was at that site before it was taken down. And Matt just wanted us to get a note on there that essentially said that that needs to be removed in accordance with DPW standards. So it needs to be cut, capped, the frame cover needs to be removed, and the existing structure needs to be backfilled accordingly. A couple of these comments show up with both Danny's comments as well as conservation. One of them was pertaining to the proposed plantings. We had more of a general table specifying plantings. The applicant has provided a list of species which are all native, because that was one of the questions, or one of the comments was either 75 or 50%. But again, the plantings that are provided on this plan are 100% native.
Okay.
We're showing 2 employee parking spaces furthest from the building, and there was a question as to signage. Given the fact that the proposed snow storage is just to the right beyond those spots, what we opted to do is we'll paint that when they stripe the parking lot, so it doesn't impede snow removal at the site, but it designates those as employee parking. Some additional detail on the fencing material around the dumpster. And again, conservation had a comment just pertaining to, we showed a single dumpster, and with the requirement to have both trash and recycling. What we've done is the applicant actually reached out to their current provider And instead of doing one 4-yard dumpster, they're going to do two 2-yard dumpsters that meet their needs based on what they're hauling today. So one of those will be trash and the other will be recycling. The question about a construction entrance detail, or if a construction entrance was required or necessary. If it was presented at the initial meeting, but this parking area, because it was the previous new car facility, there's all pavement there now. A portion of that is below top and subsoil in the back. But however the contractor phases the work, what we've done is on the erosion control plan, we've added a detail for construction entrance. So depending how they phase that work, prior to removing the existing pavement, they'll have to provide for a construction entrance. And kind of what goes along with that is erosion control. And again, the difficulty in specifying the location of the erosion control on this site is just the fact that we go from the gutter edge of pavement on Park Street, which right now is paved all the way into the lot. I don't really know how they're going to construct this, whether they're going to do the sidewalks first or whether they're going to grade and do that, but we provided a detail for the erosion control, and possibly as a condition the contractor will just kind of show their phasing and how they'll install that erosion control prior to construction.
So on that, if that's kind of the route we go, then we would have to write in the condition that prior to the pre-construction meeting or at the pre-construction meeting, we would need some sort of a plan of how the phasing is going to be done, so that we can ensure that the erosion controls are going to be put in at a proper time, and that there's not going to just be sediment leaving the site. And the same along with the construction entrance, because phasing is going to be very important as part of that whole thing.
Yeah, in terms of erosion control, the way the site is now is it's relatively flat for everybody that's gone by. The proposed grading is to have all of the surface runoff to go into the site. So, once they grade that, it'll be kind of directing most of that sediment into the site down to the low area where we're proposing a leaching catch basin.
So our concern is that when they remove the paving and go to subgrade and whatnot, that you could get runoff into the
Correct.
street. We want to
Yeah.
control that. And you
Yeah.
can put the notes. We can just have a pre-construction meeting with notes that
Yeah,
you figure out how to do it.
yeah. It would be we would put in a special condition
Yeah,
in there.
shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and then the next one, the operation and maintenance plan. So I know on the plan you have an operation and maintenance plan, but in terms of the rain garden, is it being maintained? Is there like a yearly inspection? Like, is it like what's being done to maintain that? And I personally think you should include it into the current operation maintenance, not current, the one that you're proposing, just so that it all gets done at the same
Sure.
time on
Yeah.
the same schedule. Because with a rain garden, if that gets clogged up, then it's not going to function at all. So I think including that into this operation and maintenance plan just ensures that both of them are being done at the same time.
Sure. I had talked to the applicant a little bit about this just to see if they had one in place already, which he didn't believe that they did have anything formalized. I think, obviously it's been in place for a number of years, and
Yeah.
it's being kind of maintained under their general, landscaping procedures. We can certainly add some language because, again, the operation and maintenance plan that we provided with this application is for what we're proposing.
Yeah.
But we can certainly grab some just standard maintenance
Yeah.
that we can tie into that to cover specifically the rain garden.
Yeah. Just so that we
Yeah.
know. I mean, like I do believe that it's being maintained, but just so that they're both being maintained at the same time, because when you do one, you're gonna want to just do the other one at the same time.
Yes, yeah. And they are aware that the drainage system that they have currently is fairly elaborate, where there's a rain garden, there's a series of swales that collect, and that they have a subsurface leaching system that obviously they're interested in protecting too, because the replacement cost on that is quite high. So, you know, the need to maintain that is to prevent that from failing.
I think you're,
Yeah,
you already
these
talked
next
about the planning and
comments-
the dumpsters, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Again, these are from conservation, from Heather. We talked about the landscaping and the fact that we provided the species within the table and the native plantings, and then the dumpster, which we also briefly just discussed.
I have a question, and I'm asking my colleagues to help me, but I do kind of remember that there was a discussion, if you look on the right-hand corner of the property, if you could zip it over a little bit to the left, yeah. Wasn't there some discussion of like a land swap over there to so that?
Yeah, so I actually spoke with the owner about this, and I said we would do this at a later date.
Okay.
Once the project actually gets through approvals and all of that, then we could, actually
Okay.
have that conversation.
All right, so it hasn't been dropped at a different day.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. Now, my colleagues have any questions regarding the responses to the comments?
I just noticed, I thought I asked the first time around, but I did notice there's 2 site lighting fixtures here on the plan. You are providing 2 new fixtures. I thought we made a comment that somebody said there was enough light on the project from the street or the garage, but I'm glad to see there's 2 shown.
I believe they were shown on the last plan too.
Yeah, they were.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's one right here, and then there's one at this corner.
Yeah. All right, good.
And so again, what they're looking to replicate is the exact same lighting, the downward facing.
From the other side.
They're not overly tall poles, but essentially doing those same exact poles in this lot. That's on their other lot.
So before I open up for further questions and comments, Danny, are there, what,
So-
yeah, go ahead. You got more comments,
What a
Ken?
follow-up to that is we're not requiring a photometric or anything like that.
I believe that's one of their
Or did they ask you for a waiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a list of waivers that they're requesting.
Okay.
And we'll do those with the decision. Is there anything that we need to do this evening before we arrive at, prepare for the decision next meeting? Julie, do you have a question or
I just have
comment?
a basic question. What are they gonna do with the other employees? I mean, this is more parking, and that's wonderful, because they need it. But they have way more than 2 employees. So is it 2 just so they have those guaranteed for the 2 that like will always be there in the off hours, and then in peak hours, they're
Yes.
gonna do similar to what they're doing now, or are they gonna?
So currently, there's a small portion of driveway or parking area just on the right-hand side of the
Yeah.
building where the employees park. You can see
Yeah.
the cars. So at this point, they just want to at least designate 2
Okay.
for employee parking. And obviously, if they have more than that, they'll just utilize whatever space is available.
There's usually 5 or
Yeah.
6, so, okay. Awesome. Well, I'm thrilled.
Okay. Any further comments? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think a portion of that is that the turning movements out of those other spots are better suited for in and out traffic. So we
Yeah.
figured if we're going to if we show those 2 extra spots, it's easier just to designate those as employee parking, because usually employees are coming before or after hours. So it's
That
easier,
makes
yeah.
sense. Thank
Yep.
you.
Any further questions from my colleagues? I'd like to open up public comment. Anyone in the room have any questions regarding the Air Family Pharmacy parking lot? Anyone on Zoom have any questions or comments regarding the Air Family Pharmacy parking lot proposal?
I do.
And who would that be?
Good evening, it's Beth Stedmeyer, Nashua Street.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Just wanting to ask a couple of questions. I didn't notice on the site plan any bicycle racks or parking. And given the proximity of this store and the opportunity to really be able to cater to people who are coming from the bike trail, I think that that might be an amenity they would want to consider. It's possible it's on the other side, I just am not aware of it.
Do you know if there's existing?
Yeah, so if you look on the plan, in the lower right-hand corner of the building, you can see the note for a bike rack. So that spot there is what was shown on the initial site plan that was done for the property that provided the bike storage there. I'm not sure if there is a rack in place, but we noted on this one that if it's not there, that's where the rack would be installed.
Thank you. I noticed that there's the landscape table, and the site plan shows the locations of proposed plantings, but there are no street trees that are proposed or shade trees that are proposed, and I think that that's a missed opportunity given the amount of impervious area that is in this part of the downtown. And I would really like to see some of the 9-barks that are located close to the picnic table replaced for some shade trees that could really grow and offer significant shade. And, you know, anytime that you have a parking area, you also really want to be able to offer shade adjacent to, you know, be able to ultimately cover some of those parking areas. So I'd really like to think that they would be interested in replacing some of the shrubs that are identified on the plan with shade tree species, natives, of course. And then the other question that I had was related to the future planning and thinking about connections to the rail trail. I realized that the town owns the property, I believe, adjacent to here, and this was a comment that I had brought up with the adjacent property when that proposal was being considered. But I really think some forward thinking related to bike and pedestrian access to Park Street from these adjacent properties is really important. So I don't know if that is already a conversation that has happened and been considered, or, you know, what might be able to happen, you know, with these lots that are the Park Street lots directly adjacent to town-owned property that connects to the rail trail, because it's really, you know, like you're bottlenecking people into forcing them to go to one end or the other of the block if that's the design. But I really think that these kinds of connections to Park Street will really help the businesses as well as safety and flow for bikes and pedestrians. Thank you.
You're not going to answer that? So the conversation, we just talked about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
So there's, at the last meeting, we had a discussion about talking about having a land swap, which actually Jonathan just brought up at this corner, to see if there's a way that, you know, the town could take some of this land and give them some additional land on this side, so that we have some access right here between 3 to 5 Park Street and this parcel, which would connect between the garage and the rail trail. So there is discussions occurring.
What about the trees? Any thoughts about the shade trees?
If they grow over the lot or not.
Again, I feel like some of those trees that were proposed by the applicant are of a larger species that would provide shade. But again, I would have to, it's their landscaper essentially that kind of came up with that list. So, you know, I'm sure they'd be open to possible substitutions.
Okay, great. All right.
Anyone else? I don't see anyone else.
All right, next steps, Danny?
Can we just,
Good.
so, if I'm reading this right, under the is it Apple Serviceberry, or is that the name of the tree?
The apple serviceberry.
So there's 3 of those shown. Is there 3 shown on the plan, or?
There are, yes,
Just
there's
those-
1,
those
2,
3 right there.
and 3.
So that's pretty good coverage.
And then there's the larger eastern 9-bark.
Yeah. We talked about this at the last meeting as well, the fact that there's just no planting strip between the sidewalk and the lot.
Correct. That's one of the waivers that they're requesting because of the uniqueness of this
the
lot. You know, it's such a oddly shaped lot. There's not a lot of room, you know, width or depth as we, you know, for this lot. So to make this a viable lot, you know, that's why they're requesting the waiver.
Okay, thank you.
Danny, next steps?
I would say the next steps would probably be a continuation to the next public meeting, which is June 9th. And then at that meeting, we would have a draft decision written
Good.
and given to the applicant for comments.
Okay, great. So, I make a motion to continue the public hearing for 20 Groton Harvard Road to our next planning board meeting.
Nope. 7th.
Oh, sorry. Pardon me. Make a motion to continue the public hearing for 713 and 15 Park Street Air Family Pharmacy to our next planning board meeting on
June 9th.
June 9th.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Ken?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
David? Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Great. So,
So you're going to try to get us a draft prior to that?
Yeah. I'll have it to you probably the Friday before the meeting.
Okay, fantastic.
so next on the agenda, we have the public hearing for 20 Groton Harvard Road. We have opened it already.
Yes, so I can explain just
Please do.
So at the last meeting, we opened but continued without any discussion so that we could re-notify all abutters within the 300 feet of the property. That has been done, and so now at this meeting, it's going to be the first actual meeting with discussion.
Perfect. And this is an opportunity for the applicant to walk us through and to discuss the plans. First, will the gentleman introduce himself?
Conrad Donnell, I'm the owner, property owner.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Lead us through, sir.
All right.
Talk about
If you want to start with the existing conditions, yes. So we filed for site plan approval or site plan review as well as stormwater management permit for this property. It's 20 Groton Harvard Road. It's about 3/4 of an acre in size, located at the intersection of Central Ave and Groton Harvard Road. Currently on the site, there's an existing single-family home with a carport kind of just down the page from there and an existing driveway. Topography is, the high point is essentially along the rear, yet kind of in that area, and it slopes down towards Central Ave as well as towards Groton Harvard Road. It's located within two zoning districts. It's the mixed-use transitional zoning district, which that line designates there, as well as it borders a residence A2. So the proposed project consists of demolition of the existing single-family home and construction of a multifamily residential dwelling that will contain 9 units within it. We've incorporated the driveway access to be as far north as from the intersection of Central and Groton Harvard Roads. So along that northerly property line, the proposed access road will go up into the site. The proposed building has ground floor access, which will have garage bays provided. So there'll be 2 parking spaces for each unit. One will be internal within the garage, and the other one will be just outside the garage within a driveway area. And then there's 5 visitor parking spots that are provided. Again, we also have incorporated a mail center as well as a bike rack area on this layout as well. And again, this is the initial plan. The ones we're looking at right now is the initial plan that was filed prior to the last hearing. And then afterwards, I'll kind of go over some of these plan changes because we've since submitted a revised, updated set of plans. The proposed development has a stormwater management system that's comprised of a gutter system that will directly infiltrate all of the rooftop runoff. It'll be collected and tied into a subsurface infiltration system, which will be obviously below
That
grade.
rectangle there? Yep.
Chambered system there. And all of the impervious surface from the proposed access way and the parking areas will be collected through catch basins, which will tie into manholes. And then prior to going into the subsurface system, there'll be a stormwater treatment unit that'll polish that water to get our TSS removal. The proposed access way heads downslope towards Groton Harvard Road, so we've also provided an additional catch basin right just inside as you come in the entrance on the right-hand side that'll pick up all of the surface water that comes down the driveway. The driveway has been pitched to kind of super elevate the surface water to that catch basin, and then that'll be tied into a leaching pit there. The soils on site, we've done a number of test holes and found that it's well drained, very good material for stormwater, which is why we've proposed subsurface infiltration. The drainage report that was submitted, goes into the design of that system. Essentially, it's carried the 24-hour storm all the way through the 100-year storm event.
How many test pits did you do?
There's 5
There's
that were
5?
done. So on the existing conditions
If you could
plan,
show, if you could show
Yeah.
where the 5
so
are.
there's 3 that are kind of in the front corner there, and then 2 up on the top of the hill.
In my understanding, you did not hit ledge?
Ledge was not encountered.
Wow, just extraordinary. 'Cause I know not only say that because the previous 2 projects in Central Avenue definitely had considerable amount of ledge to blast, and so you're anticipating based on the test pits that there's no blasting necessary, even breaking.
Yeah, but based on the depth of the pits, particularly pits 4 and 5 up there on the top, based on that depth, I mean, we got down to probably within a foot of what the slab elevation will be for that building.
Yep.
Beautiful sand.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of utility connections, just to kind of hop back to the proposed plan.
Of course.
There's obviously sewer and water located in both Central and Groton Harvard Road. We did a pre-submission meeting that included DPW just to kind of determine kind of what the best connection points were. And there's an existing sewer manhole that's probably about 80 to 100 feet up Groton Harvard Road there. What we're proposing is each unit will have its own sewer line that exits at the building that'll tie into kind of a sewer main line that'll kind of trunk those together. It ties into a proposed sewer manhole that will then go down and directly connect into the sewer manhole within Groton Harvard Road.
This is all gravity?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yep, all gravity. In terms of water on Central Ave, kind of on the left-hand, by the left-hand property line, yep. There's an existing fire hydrant there, and there's a 12-inch water main. We're proposing, it's been updated on the new plans, but there'll be 2 service connections there, one for domestic water supply, and each of the units will have its own service line that goes directly into the unit. And additionally, the proposed building will have fire suppression sprinkler system, so there'll be a fire line
That's because of the number of units?
that will connect into the building there to provide firefighting water capability.
And that fire line, forgive me for overstating the obvious, is distinguished from the other line that you just
Correct.
described?
Correct.
Okay. Because I remember there was some discussion in the comments about that, but the resolution is 2 separate lines.
Yes.
Okay.
And generally because obviously, when they design that system, there could be greater water demand. So it might be an upsized service connection there. Part of this, with the 9 units, one of the units within the building will be for the inclusionary housing. Just the other things to note is we've provided landscaping on this initial plan, as well as based on some of the comments received, the updated plan kind of revisits and provides some additional planting based on your regulations.
Okay. Questions and comments from the board?
Do we want to review the comments that were already before the last meeting?
So they have responded to them we have not had a chance to fully get through all of their comments, and I haven't gotten back. I haven't heard back from all of the other departments, so I was going to let them kind of just go through some of the changes that the bigger changes that they wanted to show, and then
Okay.
because I don't want to get too in depth into the comments because we still haven't had a chance to provide any additional comments if there are.
Okay.
So that would be deferred to the next meeting on the 9th?
Yeah. So, but this is the revised plan.
Okay, let's take a look at that.
So,
What's different here?
yeah, if we don't want to go through each comment line by line, in general, in regards to the landscaping, we talked about the difference between the mixed-use transitional and the A2. So some additional screening plantings were provided along that northerly property line, with the intent to basically create a visual evergreen barrier between the residential abutter and the multifamily development. There's a requirement in the regulations that basically at the time of occupancy that'll be a substantial visual barrier up to a height of, I think it was like 6 feet. And what we've done is, based on similar to the comments of the previous hearing, is we've gone through and we've specified those species and identified that they are indeed native. We had patios on the backs of the units. Well, I guess even if we back up more, this development is a corner lot. Basically, it has frontage on both Central and Groton Harvard, and there was some discussion over the comment was made that the building setbacks based upon the previous plan observed a sideline setback to both of the sideline coming up Central Ave as well as Groton Harvard, that northern line. Based on the definition within the bylaw, is on a corner lot, the frontage that is essentially longer, where we have more frontage, the property line opposite that frontage is considered a rear property line. So the entire building has been shifted to provide that additional setback requirement to be on 25 feet. And in doing that, it did a couple things. Number one, it allowed us more room to grade behind the building, so we were able to eliminate the units 1 and 2 had a elevated deck to provide a secondary means of ingress and egress. We were able to balance that out using a retaining wall, which is less than 4 feet off the back, to provide that access. We've also eliminated, there was patios on the back of the units. We've eliminated those, which took care of one of the concerns in terms of the water service lines being under the patio. With the shift in the building, which has kind of shifted the stormwater management as well as the parking and access, coupled with the comment of having to provide a dumpster for both the trash and recycling, we were kind of eating up a lot of space off the end of that area, and it is within close proximity to Central and the intersection of Central and Groton Harvard. So talking with Conrad, what we're proposing is to do internal trash collection. So essentially, each of these residents will have a garage at that ground level. They'll have individual barrels for both trash and recycling that will be picked up curbside within the site. So it eliminates that dumpster.
Is it curbside within the site?
Yeah, so they'll actually
Each has the
pick up the
Like in
receptacle.
front of each garage,
Each have
basically?
their own stuff.
And again, that's just to eliminate, otherwise there would be numerous barrels down along the existing road.
Yeah. And that'll work, that trash pick?
Yeah, because they would just go into the site because there's
There's
enough room.
room?
Yeah, there's
They
enough
were-
room for
yeah.
circulation, so it wouldn't be that much of
Okay.
an issue.
They were going in anyway to pick up the dumpsters, so now
Okay.
basically they're just going to pick up the barrels.
So, you understand where where I'm coming from here. So it's quite I'd like you to go back to and tell us exactly where you found that definition or the description of why the 25 feet needed to be created on the back. Because
So
the original discussion was quite different from that.
yeah, and I can explain.
So just take us through it.
So the building commissioner had an initial determination based on previous, iterations of other projects. He later came up. There was something that was brought to his attention. He later then brought David E. Ross Associates. I think it was Kevin Conover.
Yeah.
Came in to have that discussion regarding the corner lot and what's a rear, what's a what. The building commissioner made a determination at that point that the first determination he made was incorrect, and that the side, as it was being called in the first time, is actually a rear.
Okay.
And so at that point, because Groton Harbor Road was the initial frontage of the corner lot, the back portion of that must be called the rear.
Okay. So that I'm looking at it right here, so it's under the definition section, basically. I'm gonna read it, or forget it.
Up to you if you want to.
So you were with this definition, you guys picked it up later in a discussion with Mike Wallace, I guess, something along those lines?
It was brought to our attention.
Yeah, okay. So for setback purposes, in the case of lots fronting on multiple streets, the front yard shall correspond to the street with the longest frontage, comma, though vehicle access can be obtained via either the front or the side lot lines. So by determining that that is the frontage, the other becomes the rear.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Good, good, good. Any other questions or comments? No? I'm gonna open it up.
Actually, I do have one question.
Yeah, Peter, go for it.
So I understand why you're doing without the dumpster, but I just want to make sure that the trash pickup, the barrels will be adequate for, because every housing project I've worked on, disposal and barrels have been a nightmare. Trash gets everywhere and ends up in the butters' properties. So I just want to make sure that the barrels will be proper, and maybe 2 barrels or whatever per unit, because these are 3 bedrooms. Just want to make sure that trash and whatnot's not getting into abutters' properties is my concern. I understand why you're not going with the dumpster, but as far as the barrels go, I want to make sure the barrels are actually adequate to store refuse and whatnot.
So it's going to be a contract service similar. There's
Picked up
several-
once a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a typical wheel that'll have a cover on it, not just I guess regular barrels with covers. It's got the swing latch on the
swivel,
top.
yeah.
Yeah, so consistent with everywhere else. For contract.
Thank you, Peter. What else?
I'm a little concerned with the main entrance where I know you're trying to grade them towards that one catch basin. But I gotta believe water coming down that driveway might be coming back down fast enough to miss that catch basin. Would you consider putting another, crowning it instead of trying to super elevate it, put one on the other side as well? So you'd have catch basin on either side. And therefore, you got a pretty good chance of catching everything. I just think you might want to run right by it.
Yeah, so you're saying like if it catches some speed along
It'll
here,
go right
it'll
through.
just go right through.
Right.
And to be fair, we have run into this issue over on a previous project, which was similar driveway, design, where it was supposed to go towards that one catch basin that is now just bypassing it.
Yep.
And it has to be addressed. So it is a valid concern.
Okay. So, can you guys take a look at that? You'd have a little, you'd crown it.
Crown it, yeah.
Set it to each direction, that it's the curb, goes to the catch basin on either side, instead of trying to push it across the driveway, which I don't think is gonna work in some situations.
We can look at that. It's a relatively short run of driveway, because as you look, catch basin 8. So this is on the opposite side,
Yeah,
up towards the top of the slope there. So
I mean, you're going right in the same direction, so it's pretty easy to add another one, I think. So, take a look at it.
Because rain that falls here is just going to go this way.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because this exact scenario is exactly what's happening on a project that we're currently dealing with.
And I think it's important here too, because you really don't want to add any more off the site down to the Groton Harvard Road. You want to do everything you can to keep it on the site and be proactive for the neighborhood and whatnot, so it's, I think it's a small change to consider that.
You look at that. Yeah.
You'll look into it?
Yep.
So
Anything
do
else?
we need to talk about if there's a revision to the 25 feet in the back? Has there been a revision to the landscape plan?
So that's a good question. That was actually my next question for him. So one of my comments, and you already had discussed it, was the A2, the 2 zoning districts. If it's a multifamily to a residential, single family home in that area, you have to provide the landscaping. And so on this area back here along units 7, 8, and 9, that's where that would also apply, because you do have another residential use back here. So you're showing a fence. There is, under the next section of that, it talks about the planning board has the authority to provide a waiver in the sense of allowing a fence in place of that landscape. Is that what this is basically showing, that you're using that fence in place of that landscaping?
Yes. So the intent was behind the building, the fence would serve as that visual buffer.
And the rest would be a lawn, basically. Just grade it out and seed it as a lawn. Is that the idea?
Yep.
Should work.
So what would need, and this will be included as part of my comments, would be they would have to make a formal request as for that.
Yeah.
And I will include that as part of my comments.
No,
And along,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, sorry, kind of along those lines, if I forget the section that you referenced in your comments, but it specifies a 25-foot landscape buffer between the residential use there. And based on what the design purpose was, to get that access drive as far from the intersection as we could. So as you look at that 25-foot landscape buffer, we would require a waiver down by the access road to go down to about 18 feet. So we're getting that visual separation with the plantings that we've provided, but in order to comply with that 25, and in that 25, it can be grass. You know, it's not necessarily all screening.
Correct.
But our thought is obviously from safety. All the other concerns is to get that access drive as far from the intersection as possible is a greater benefit. But that would potentially be another waiver that we'd have to add.
Yeah, the proximity to this intersection, and I'm assuming the reason you're not adding the landscape there is because of sight lines as well.
Right, you gotta be able to see, right? Yeah. Right.
Yes, good. Is that, I can't see it with the signs there, but does that entrance have vertical granite curves? Like coming into the site partway or something? Or is it Cape Cod berm all the way and whatever?
I don't think it specifies.
You're wondering what the existing curbing is?
No, the entrance to the new project.
Yes.
What are you calling this out as?
Bituminous Cape Cod berm.
Yeah.
I think we have I think there's a requirement for vertical granite curbing at the radii.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's a
I think we
requirement
do.
for
I think so,
all curb cuts.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
we haven't received comments back from the other
Yeah.
departments, so I don't know.
But in typical fashion, we would expect that to be vertical granite curve transitioning to the Cape Cod.
Correct.
And again onto their property.
Yeah, once the radii is done, then at that point it would be whatever they were choosing. But based on what I see here, it's all Cape Cod berm.
Yeah, okay.
And that requirement's on all driveways?
Yeah, I believe so.
And that's
I can talk to Matt. He can probably get you the
Sure, yeah,
reference better than I can. It usually comes from us.
Any other questions or comments from board members? I'd like it opened up to comments or questions from the room.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Come on up. Can we get chairs for? Oh, there's a chair right there, Craig. Can we get a second chair?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. if you
We
would-
are the Basharas. We are
80 Central Ave.
the 80 Central Ave on the other, the back end. I have a lot of concerns.
Okay.
My husband is battling AML leukemia since last June. He's had a bone marrow transplant in February. He's on the mend. But my concern is dust, things that are going to be floating in the air. Because those trees right now, you're planning to take the trees down? Yes?
The existing trees, yes. Yeah.
That they're right on the line. And that is,
Yeah, I'm gonna.
you know,
get
it's
to it.
a big concern for me. First, for privacy. Second, you know, when all those trees come down, you know, we'll have no privacy. If there's a lot of people, you know, you're saying there's patios, people are gonna be grilling, his lungs are a mess. You know,
So, just before we get too far along, so in terms of the dust control and that concern, the planning board has requirements as part of the construction permit that they have to maintain, that they have to use dust controls to properly keep that down. So as part of
okay,
construction.
and I cannot for the life of me believe there's no ledge in there. Our property is completely, everything, everywhere you dig is ledge. That blows my mind, there's no ledge there. But, you know, I don't know,
The trees, it's the most concern, it's the most privacy. They're pine, they're always green in the winter or summer and all that. And then it's a straight line of a pine. You wanna put a fence, that's fine, you know, but the trees, it's already the fence between us and the other side.
I mean, that's just, it's gonna break my
I know
heart.
some
And
trees,
there's a
they
lot of-
don't, they can be chopped, that's fine, but it's just the privacy between us and other people, that's all.
And I am concerned about, you know, the water on that corner. Like you were saying about the two drains. That intersection is so dangerous already. And several accidents have happened because of, you know, the rain sitting on top of the paint that's used for the crosswalk. That paint tends to be slick, and there was a motorcyclist
That's weird.
that really took himself out. So if there's any kind of runoff that doesn't get caught in the catch basin, that's going to be treacherous for everybody traveling. That's already a really dangerous intersection. You know, I'm just concerned, like, water pressure. I know you've talked about it already, that it's going to be separate, but, you know, our water pressure is already not fantastic.
Actually, so as part of another project that's up the street, the water pressure there's a loop that's being introduced into Groton Harvard Road is actually going to make that whole area have better water pressure.
Okay, so that includes Central Ave? Because we're at 80 Central Ave.
Yeah, because the way the waterway works is
It comes-
up on High Street is going to connect all the way down to Groton Harvard Road, and the Groton Harvard Road water line that runs down all the way down to Central Ave is that one that they're tying into.
Okay. And I know this sounds crazy for everybody else, but what time is construction gonna start? Because like Loon Hill, or whatever
Lincoln Hill?
Lincoln Hill. You know, he had just gotten out of the hospital and it's 7 a.m. and it's
They start
So-
And we're not sleeping as it is, and to have that start at 7 a.m. is brutal.
Yeah, so legally they are allowed to start construction between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And then on Saturdays I believe it's 8 to 4, 8 to 3, and then no work on Sundays or legal holidays.
Right, usually we know it's 3 o'clock because all the hammering stops. The trash, that it was a concern. I mean,
Is it a dumpster or a
no,
barrel?
no,
Barrels.
they just said it's gonna be barrels.
Okay.
Everybody's gonna have their own individual, because I'll tell you right now, there's plenty of raccoon, possum, skunks, there's everything there. So, just a heads up, it was a good decision not to do the dumpsters. We just got one, a dumpster, and we don't put any food in it until Monday night, because it gets picked up Tuesday morning. So, just a heads up, there's lots of creatures. All right, I think
That's all.
that's it. I just, as
Okay.
long as the dust is gonna be
Yes.
like really minimal, if any. And,
If
No.
any possible, you can leave the trees. It would be great, but that's.
but if not, if we don't, if the trees don't stay, how high did you say you were gonna put a fence?
6 foot high, yeah.
6 foot.
Whatever. God be with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I gotta follow up.
I don't know, I think Lorena's probably gonna wanna talk, she's the other.
Yeah, we'll
Good, though.
turn
Yeah.
it over to the
Thank you.
next.
Have you done, have you laid out the lot line in the back, like exactly where the lot line is that they're talking about between the properties, so you could determine if the actual trees are on your land or their land? I think we should recommend that line be staked in the field.
So we could probably do a site walk.
Yeah, do a site walk.
We could schedule a site walk and have the applicants, stake out the property line.
Stake that line.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah, because if we have them stake the line, then we can go out there and look at
Double check
them and see, if what does, what can stay, what can't
Right.
stay.
You might find out that some of the stuff can be pruned and stay in place, but be cut back, and still allow construction, depending on where the actual root system
A lot
is.
of it's got to do the root system.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
roots,
it's the
yeah,
root
right.
system,
Start,
obviously.
disturbing the root system within these big trees, it makes it very unstable,
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, indeed.
But we can look at that. I think if you look at the existing conditions plan, there was, there's a couple, there's that stone bound right by right there, and then there's another bound on the back corner.
Yep.
So those are about 110 feet apart, so it
And
gives us
there's
a
an
good idea.
exist-
Plus,
so there's already an existing wire fence
fence.
already there
Oh,
too.
the fence is on the line.
The
Oh.
fence is already on the line.
Okay, so.
So is that-
You
so-
already see it.
That's ours.
So are the trees on the other side of the fence?
Well, that's something we could look at, but at least in terms of having to stake the lot line,
Yeah,
we
we-
said we're
you
pretty
don't have
tied
to-
in on that.
Yeah, you don't
There was a
need
lot
to.
that we
Okay.
found on that side of the property.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so it won't be necessary to actually stake out
Yeah.
the lot line. We can actually see it with the existing stuff in this area right here.
Yeah, That's good.
So if trees do have to come down on this side, would you be open to maybe instead of a fence doing similar to what you have here with this arborvitae evergreen type line along there instead of a fence?
We can discuss that.
Because then at that point, you're going to have something that's going to continue to grow and at least fill in that visual buffer
Yeah,
higher than 6 feet.
It's going to grow higher. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to be higher than
Yeah.
6 feet.
Yep, for sure.
I'd like to open up for comment for people.
Can I just ask,
Yep.
you mentioned a site, is that something, a site walk, or are we gonna do that at the end, once we go through comments? Thank you.
I'd like to open up for comments from anyone on Zoom. Anyone on Zoom have comments or questions regarding 20 Groton
Yeah, I've got a
Harvard?
couple.
And who would that be?
My name's Justin Vogel. I'm the abutter at 22 Groton Harvard, property just to the right if you look at it from Groton Harvard Road.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. Go. Yes, sir.
Okay, a couple things. Number one, I'd like to echo and agree on not having a dumpster being a good thing. Obviously, just the rodents and the like, it would be much better if it was a standard bin system. They were emptied weekly, but it sounds like that's already the plan. So moving on. Existing retaining wall between 22 and 20. If you look at the site plan, the existing, there are probably, I can't recall if it is 5 or 6, probably 100-foot tall trees there. Those are coming down as I interpret this plan, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. I had, not that it matters, but I had tried to make that happen years back. Previous owner was not interested in that, but I digress. In those trees coming down, I have concerns with the existing retaining wall there. Retaining wall is kind of a strong term for what is there. It is a stone wall that's probably about 100 years old.
Okay.
It's not in great shape. When those trees are removed, I assume something will need to happen with the stumps. I don't know what you're going to do there, but in removing the stumps, I think there's going to be damage to that retaining wall. What plans are in place? Is that something we're planning for? So that first tree, not such a big deal. It's the ones behind it.
Yeah, it's those.
Yeah, they are very near, and the root system is down into that stone wall, and I can tell you it is presently, at least once a year, they push another rock out, and I have to go kind of reset it.
Yeah, I think that's something, especially if we're going to take a site walk, we can look at that and figure out what we can do best there.
Okay.
Additionally, I do like that the sight line out of what'll essentially be that line of shrubs that'll be planted or whatever is being planted there. That ending with good sight line is extremely important. It is already very difficult to back out of my driveway. It is super sketchy, if I'm being honest. Maintaining a sight line is extremely important, especially with what I'm going to call the unenforced speeding issue on Groton Harvard Road, as it relates to vehicles coming down Groton Harvard Road into that stop sign at a excessive rate of speed. I don't know if there's to be honest, I don't drive on Groton Harvard Road enough to know what the speed limit is coming that direction. My guess is it's 35. You might consider even reducing that a little ways up the road to bring that down to a 25 into that stop sign, because the added traffic there is going to be a problem.
Yeah, in terms of changing speed, that's a select board and a police department kind of thing, but we can definitely bring it up to them.
I'd appreciate that. And then my last question or concern was just as far as that giant line of trees or shrubberies goes, I assume there will be some sort of an HOA, some sort of a landscape contract that'll take care of those maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, if somebody could get back to me on the concerns about just that existing retaining wall and fence, and as it relates to the removal of those trees, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So when we set up the site walk, that'll be something that we discuss at that point, and then at the next meeting we can kind of give the public a full rundown as to kind of what the discussion was as to what about the retaining wall, about the trees in that area as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else online have any comments or questions? Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, Beth.
Beth Stidmeyer. Similar to the last one, I just really want to comment on the proposed landscape plan. There's again shrubs and then Norway maples, which obviously are not native. And I understand that there is sometimes a reason for having evergreen planted, but I really want to stress the importance of street trees and shade for cooling corridors and I just really hate to see any consideration of waiving street tree requirements. And it's just so important for the livability of these spaces to have shade trees. Again, just like with the last project, the service berries and the nine barks and things like that, those are large shrubs. They might get to like 15 feet, but they're not going to provide shade and they're not going to provide a space underneath to gather. And I really think that that's very important for these projects and would really like to see deciduous shade trees planted that are native and really enhance the cooling of the livable spaces and green spaces and the sidewalk area and the roadway. So that's, very important. Along those lines, as was mentioned by the resident back who talked about the preservation of some of the trees for screening along that property line, that's, really important, and anything that can be done to protect trees that are in good condition and help with that screening is really important. And there's sometimes, steps that can be taken with small retaining walls around protection of the root zone and things like that, because I realize that there's a lot of grading that's going to be happening on this property. Related to the grading, I definitely support Mr. Diskin's comments about stormwater coming off of the steep driveway. I think that that's, definitely a concern and should be significantly looked out to reduce the amount of stormwater that reaches the town's MS4 system. And finally, I just wanted to get a better understanding of the cut and fill analysis and what they're looking at here. I also am very surprised to hear that they haven't encountered any ledge and want to make sure that there's sufficient testing that has happened to ensure that there's no surprises. Thank you.
So on the first thing about street trees, there's no requirements for street trees on this project. It's not a subdivision, so it wouldn't apply on this project. This is just under site plan review. But your comment is noted. One of my comments was similar to that as well.
I'm sorry, who's responding?
Danny.
Okay, can we hear from the applicant?
I'm gonna finish my comments, and then that was the first comment, and then the other comment in terms of test holes. We talked about it just maybe a couple minutes ago, that there were 5 that were done.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hello? Did we lose anybody?
I don't see any more comments.
Just,
The
you're breaking up, Beth.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything on cut and fill analysis.
The response was that there were 5, you could see on the screen, the 5 test pits.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about the balance sheet for what would be removed and what would be brought in.
Yeah. Not typical of a project,
So-
it's small.
I quickly just hit, so there hasn't been a formal cut fill analysis, just given the type of project this is, clearly, as you look at where the building's going and with the drive under garage bays, it's going to be more of an export than import. So there's going to be more fill leaving than coming in.
Yeah.
And sometimes that lends itself to creating berms that are vegetated to help with additional screening and, creating an atmosphere for the residents and the barrier between abutters or the streetscape. So just something to think about, again, really just stressing the importance of shade trees here as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I got one final comment. So,
Yes, Ken?
I'd like to make one suggestion to the applicant, in that we were all amazed that the evidence shows no ledge there. It might be prudent to do a few more test holes if you feel comfortable doing that, Conrad. I'm just saying.
Like have an excavator there the day you guys come in.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
you've got your own
dig a hole
machines.
in front of you and show you
I
exactly
know
what the
that.
material is.
I think you have a big advantage in that regard.
That's not a problem.
But making a suggestion that
It's fine by me.
might be
I would
beneficial.
I would just suggest that if the board wants additional testing, that someone from the town witness it.
Yeah, well, in this particular case, it's not gonna be a test that's certified and got all the
No,
cuts.
I know.
It's
We're not doing it.
simply-
It's not for depth of water.
It's not for
It's-
design. It's simply for proactive thinking,
Correct.
the suggestion, that's all. So,
Do we need to schedule, are we gonna schedule a walk today or after we go through the comments?
I would suggest we schedule it for today. Schedule it
Great,
today.
Let's do that. What are we looking at?
So we've been typically doing Thursdays, right?
Yep.
So
Can I
yeah, go
do
ahead.
my normal spiel on
Yeah.
how we got to Thursdays? We used to do Saturdays.
Okay.
I think it's really important that you guys feel comfortable saying what you're available to do. I think some of us have a lot of flexibility, so this is a good time to be honest.
Yeah.
It has been nice to move it off of the weekend, but just so you know, historically at times they have been Saturday mornings. We did Thursday mornings because of Kathleen's schedule and when she needed to be at the train. They are working well for us, so unless you had a problem, but this is a very easy and open place to say what you need. And typically we do a half an hour if it's a smaller site visit and 45 minutes-ish if it's a larger site visit.
Yeah.
So we've been doing like 8 o'clock right on a
Yeah.
Thursday.
And
So would you qualify this as?
so this is a smaller one. I would
Thank you.
suggest like it would probably be 30 minutes because what we would be looking at would be obviously the property line along here, same as long as up here, and then that's kind of the extent. I don't know if the board would want to see the four corners of the building as well while we're out there.
I think it makes sense, especially with this new 25-foot
Yeah,
system conclusion.
so we could look at that while we're there as well. In terms of the new members, I would suggest that you guys let us know what availabilities work for you. We can work our schedules around to make it work for what's best for both of you, and then and go from there.
I take my son to school at 8. I'm not back in town till 8:15, 8:20 at the late, around 8:20. So 8:30 would be better for me.
Anytime in the morning except for Thursdays
Okay.
are good for me.
Except Thursdays.
Except Thursdays.
Repeat that, Peter, sorry.
Any weekday but Thursdays. They have to be in Worcester for
Okay.
8 o'clock on Thursday.
All right, we're gonna
What
work
do we
on
think?
it.
Do you want to propose a time
We
now?
could do so whatever works for you guys. We don't have to do Thursdays. That's just
Wednesday's
what we
out
were
for
doing
me.
at that point.
Wednesday's out for me.
I know Wednesday's out for you.
Thursday's out for me.
Friday?
So that narrows it
Friday.
down to Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays.
I like Monday. But no one's probably gonna like a Monday morning. Okay.
I don't have a problem Monday.
Alright.
So the only thing with the Monday is, so if we would do it June 1st, is that way we could either do it June 1st or June 8th. June 8th would be the Monday before the meeting, or we could do June 1st, which is next Monday.
Let's say June 1st,
June 1st?
8:30?
Peter,
8:30 works?
8:30 works.
Okay, so what I can do is I'll post an agenda for June 1st at 8:30.
that works for you guys?
Do you think you'll be able to get those four corners in?
Yes.
Okay.
Give or take 20 feet.
Swing ties. All right, and then so at this point, what our next step would be, obviously, so at the next we would have our site visit, and then at the next meeting we would go through whatever comments would come back from department heads. We would hopefully get comments back to you guys by the end of this week, and that way you would have enough time prior to the next meeting. If there's any revisions that need to happen, or at least comments that could be responded to can happen, we can get that done before the next meeting. That would be helpful for all of us. So I think at this point we're at the point for continuation, or
Yes,
if there's
good.
any other comments left from the board.
Hearing none, I'll take a motion for continuance. Yeah, go for it, Dave.
Motion to continue the site plan review of 20 Groton Harvard Road
To June 9th.
to June 9th,
And the stormwater management.
and the stormwater management plan.
Excellent.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. We'll continue it to the next meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the senior center. Hello, hello, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So,
Good. It's workers' comp, I saw it. You got injured by the table.
thank
Do the
you.
first.
Dan, you want to tell us where we are, what we can get done tonight?
Yes, so at the last meeting, the applicant went through the initial presentation of the plans. They had the comments from the department heads, but had not had the chance to respond to them just yet. The applicant has submitted responses to us regarding the responses to the department head comments. The applicant also submitted a letter in terms of for the traffic information, and they've also submitted revised plans. We did not receive any comments back in terms of their responses. The only one that kind of at this point is still kind of open, we don't feel comfortable with, is in terms of the traffic for the Bishop Road and Park Street intersection.
Okay.
That is coming from myself, the police chief, and the town engineer.
So what's the remediation for this? How can we get past this?
That's at this point, I think we will need to have an internal meeting and kind of see exactly what it is that we need. We did not feel the response was sufficient in our concerns, but I have not had a chance to speak with the chief and Matt about it. I've only had a email back and forth. So I think an internal meeting is going to be necessary, and then at that point we'll be able to better elaborate as to what our concerns are on that. But other than that, we did not have any additional comments come out of the review of the revised plans and the responses. So what I would do is have the engineer go through the revisions and to the plans that were made, and any of the bigger comments that you feel are necessary to kind of go through.
Sure, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Just briefly, my second meeting here is Jim DeVellis,
Hi, Jim.
professional civil engineer hired by the town for the senior center. Also, I see John Catlin, who is the architect that's on Zoom tonight. He had a previous meeting, so he's on Zoom. And I think Katie is your director of the Council on Aging is on there also.
And I believe Dan is on there as well.
Correct. Yep. So I concur with Planner Danny that we had a meeting April 28th, received comments from the planning board, department heads, and I think there was someone from Zoom that had given comments. Responded on May 15th, and I think everything's addressed on site. And I can give you just a quick overview. The plan from a bird's eye view looking down really has not changed. There was a lot of clarifications or answering questions in the response letter. But basically, we clarified some of the internal road signs, stop, left, right. We clarified the crosswalks, that they are actually going to be stamped concrete, or that's what we're thinking. So we showed that. A lot of the stuff you don't see on the plans, but the rims and inverts to make sure that the slopes, and we put a lot of attention to the details that we were on there, took ours off and added the town of Ayer's standard DPW details. What else did we do? So from a bird's eye view looking down, there was really no substantive changes.
So looks like there's not much, how much more can we do tonight until we get to the next meeting? I mean. we
So
gotta
right
resolve this
now, I
traffic.
think is in terms of comments of the board may have, any additional questions, but in terms of our side, we feel the applicant has addressed all of our concerns except for that one item.
Okay, yeah.
What about the waiver request?
That would be done during the decision, as we typically would do.
Okay.
And just so that everyone knows, the sitting members on this one, so in the last couple, there's because of the changeover in members, Peter and Dave are not eligible to sit on this one. They're welcome to ask questions and all that, but they are not voting members on this one. They won't be voting members on the Ayer Pharmacy. They will be on 20 Groton Harvard Road.
Okay.
So
We
right
better
now it's Julie, Ken, and Jonathan.
Okay, so I really, the big thing was the traffic. The only thing I can remember that was kind of open from last time, and it may be irrelevant, remember there was discussion about the fencing around the.
No, that's done.
That's done.
Oh,
So
it's
how
in
was
the-
that resolved? I
it's in
mean,
the
just
comments.
remind me.
Yeah, it was comments about the fencing along the property, and
And that's resolved. And that pickleball really is pickleball. That's really is part of the plan. The pickleball courts on the left there, lower left.
Well, they're showing on the plan.
Okay, because I remember there was something. Okay, all right. I mean, I don't have anything. So, how far are we from? What are the obstacles to decision at this point? I know we have that traffic. What else? That's it.
That's the biggest one.
So
Obviously, we have to open up to public comment and board comments as of right now for anything that's kind of
But
right
do you
now.
think the next meeting we could have a decision to vote on, to vote on if the
If it-
traffic's resolved?
If we can get the traffic resolved before then yes.
How do you
I
think
think
you're gonna
that's-
get the traffic resolved?
That
What's the?
That is not for me to decide.
Okay, it's not for the board to decide either.
The way
If we're
we
satisfied.
no, well,
Well, wait a minute.
yes,
You're gonna make a
Yeah,
recommendation
We're gonna make
to
a
the
recommendation.
board.
Yes. So the way it would work
I wanna
is,
clarify.
yes. Let me clarify. You're right. The way it typically works is the town, the employees of the town, the department heads, would review the plans, and we make our recommendations to the board that we feel they have sufficiently addressed the comments.
Right.
In terms of traffic, myself, the police chief, and the town engineer do not feel that the response that we received was sufficient to address the concern. We will meet and see how we think the applicant can better address that comment. If the applicant supplies us with that, then at that point we can make a recommendation. That's kind of where it is. And of course, if the board chooses to vote without that, you are allowed to do that, but we would obviously not prefer that.
I just want to clarify for the public, so the concern is not the traffic on McPherson Road per se, in front
Correct.
of the senior center, because obviously McPherson Road is pretty clear of almost any development whatsoever. The issue is the end of the road, McPherson, where it meets Park, which is obviously Park Street is an extremely busy street, and it's that concern, right?
Correct.
It's the traffic going in, it's the impact of traffic on that corner. And I think what we're trying to figure out, is there a way to get there without a full-fledged traffic study? Is that what we're trying to get at?
It's not recommended for traffic.
Yeah, we don't suggest.
We already
that.
know that, we don't want that,
For
right?
us, our biggest concerns is how many cars do we expect at that intersection that are going to be additional or new going to the senior center because of the peak hours for that area. That whole road in the morning, there's times we have a police
No, I get it.
detail up at the intersection with Main and Park. It backs up,
I
and
know.
that is our biggest concern is those hours, the peak hours. What is the impact of cars trying to take that right? Not too much, but it's more of the coming up Park Street from the main, trying to take that left.
You're concerned with traffic coming from the center of town, going west on Park Street, basically north on Park Street, and then
North.
taking a left.
Taking that left, because you're going to be stopping there, waiting for oncoming traffic to go so that you can take that left.
Let me ask you a question. Are you concerned about any other intersections in town that have similar conditions like that? Where
If
it
they-
exists now, like 5 or 6 other ones like that?
If they come before us, then yes.
Okay.
That's the caveat. Those intersections are not currently before the planning board to review.
Okay.
Can I just want to ask, what would be satisfactory in terms of information? In other words, short of a study, then is it finding comparable data of activity of a senior center of this size? Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, so I don't want to speak for the other member, for the town engineer and for the police chief. For me, one of my suggestions was to try to find.
Oh, who's that?
Sorry, Danny, I
Yeah.
didn't want to interrupt you, I was just motioning.
Yeah, Katie.
Katie, you have insight on this traffic issue?
Well, I was just kind of curious question for Danny, because the memo did say that we are expecting 100 visitors a day, and not all of those wouldn't be 100 individual cars. So are you looking for something more specific than that?
Must be.
So, in terms of, I'm not going to speak for the town engineer and for the police chief. For me, that didn't give me enough information. I know you're saying you're anticipating 100 cars per day, but 100 people per day, but specifically in terms of car trips, how many does that count out to? When are those peak hours that those cars are going to be coming in? Where is the expectation that those cars are going to be coming from? Are they going to be coming south from, Fitchburg Road, that area, or are they going to be coming mainly from Main Street? So that's kind of some of the questions that we feel, at least I feel, is kind of still out there. I don't know where where you got the numbers per se, but that's kind of where we feel. But I still have to meet with Matt and the police chief to better flesh out what it is that we're going to be looking for.
So that's what I would ask. I would ask that internally that the town employees make it clear what information is necessary to satisfy your concerns, so that they're not just fishing in the dark.
Correct.
That they have a sense of where to go, where they could get the information.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's only fair.
If I could butt in for a moment too.
Who's
It's
that?
John Catlin.
Oh,
John
hi.
Catlin. We just finished a almost identical sized senior center just down the road from you guys in Wilbraham, and a very similar situation. I think it would be good for either Danny or somebody from the town to speak with some of the town officials in Wilbraham. They've not experienced any kind of traffic issue. They have a very busy road right in front of the center, as well as 2 intersections at each end. And we have the same kind of count that Katie's been explaining. It's kind of a slow feed in during the day, a slow feed out. It's not like a large, there might be an event on an evening, on a weekend or something that might have a lot of cars at once, but it's generally people arrive during the day for different events and leave during the day. And often ones that arrive in the morning may be gone by noon, where other ones are coming at 1. And in Wilbraham, there's been no concern about the operation as it operates today. And it's a 13,000 square foot center, just like yours, with about the same size parking lot. So I would recommend, if you could, or I could reach out for you to the town to get their comments. But I think it would be helpful in this decision-making process.
Yeah, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
All right, thank you,
I
John.
will talk with Matt and the police chief about that.
So in terms of deliberation this evening, is there anything else we can deliberate? But that's pretty much it until we get to the comments next meeting.
Well, you can go to,
I mean, I was
you
just
can
gonna
do
say-
the comments now.
I was going to say, what I meant was the review.
Oh, yeah.
So, at this point, I'll open up first to the board, Any further questions? Anything outside of the traffic study? Or not, pardon me, traffic issue?
Discussion.
The traffic discussion.
Traffic discussion.
Thank you. Traffic discussion.
Traffic discussion at one intersection.
At that intersection, yes. Is there anything else? I couldn't, I went through what was there, nothing really leapt at me. It seemed pretty resolved.
Yeah.
But I want to check with my colleagues here.
How do we determine how much extra traffic there is? How do we know that the people going to the senior center aren't already traveling down Park Ave or Park Street, going in that direction, and it's not creating extra traffic? It's just the same amount of traffic, and we don't really have an increase without.
Do you want an honest answer to that one? 'Cause
Yes,
I don't know.
of course I want
Then
to
you have to do a
understand.
traffic study.
That would be a traffic study,
Yeah, which we're trying.
which is
But how do you do a traffic study if the
Well-
building isn't built, because you don't know who's going there?
Well, that's all. He's a new member of the board.
yes. So there's a whole process that is done by a traffic engineer. The way they typically do it. Yeah, it's a huge booklet that ends up.
I did when I was very young, and they had traffic studies by hand. I did one at Nantucket Beach in Rhode Island, and I sat at the traffic light
Doing the
all day
counts.
and going
Yep, doing the
straight,
counts.
straight,
Yep.
left, straight.
Now they have computers that
Yes,
do that for you.
Yes.
I know. So
But
what we're suggesting is that because this is only one intersection,
Yep.
it's not something we're asking for a full traffic study. For us, it's really understanding how is this
Going to impact.
going to impact that one intersection, because it's already a busy area. That's really kind of our concern.
you want me to, why don't we read the comments so Dave has.
Yeah. You want to read the comment?
Let's read that
Can I
particular
just,
comment.
yeah, can I just pull it up? What page is it again?
That's, I got it on page, well, mine is 5, his response.
Yeah, here we go.
So the original comment comes from the town engineer, is that
Yep.
right?
I believe so. Yes, DPW. So it says, no traffic study was provided in the application, although DPW did locate traffic count data on the Park Street for June 2024. From DPW's understanding of the existing traffic, a standard traffic study for this project would likely not yield any significant findings such as significant changes to the level of service delay at nearby intersection.
So isn't that a little bit counter to what you talked about?
That's the DPW's comment. The police chief had his own comment, and I also had my own comment. But based on what the email that I have between myself, the police chief, and Matt, we did not feel the letter that was sent to us, from Katie Petrossi, was sufficient to address the concern.
Good.
Again, I just say, just make sure you make it easier for Katie to figure out what she needs to do.
Oh yeah. Yep. That's the intent.
All right.
That's why when we meet, we want to explicitly lay out exactly what it is we're looking for.
All right. Any further comments from this board? Any comments or corrections? Comments or questions from Zoom participants? Because I don't think there's anyone. Well, Heather counts, but she's not a civilian.
She's not a resident.
In this
Not a
town.
resident.
She's not a resident.
That's right.
I don't see any hands up.
Any hands up? No. All right.
Sorry, I'm not in a position to put up a hand,
Oh,
but I do
okay.
have a couple questions.
Go ahead, Beth.
Beth Sudmeyer, so it's exciting to see, this project coming before the board now. It's going to be a great asset and amenity for the town. I am curious where we're at with the MIPA process. I know that there was a environmental justice review meeting, but I just wasn't sure where the rest of the review stands, as that is usually completed before, additional permitting is completed. But in regard to the site plan, I don't see existing trees shown on the existing conditions plan. And, like, you won't be surprised that, my comment is really related to understanding where there's existing mature trees and what could be done to protect those at the sort of margins of the limit of work. Really understanding where the limit of work is, anywhere that you could reduce the amount of grading that's going to be done so that you can reduce the impacts to the extent of limit of work and also reduce the impacts to existing mature trees, would be really important. There's a tremendous amount of impervious area here, which also seems like it would be possible to reduce the amount of impervious, add more vegetated islands and expand the vegetated islands so that you can have trees planted in the islands and providing shade on this huge parking lot instead of just the shrubs that are shown on the plans. Again, shade trees are so important, and it's possible to fit them into islands in parking areas. And if you pay attention to parking areas that have no trees and those that do have trees, you'll realize just how much of a difference it makes, both for the aesthetics of the area and for the comfort of, getting into your car or, just being able to experience that space. We're going from a very organic, natural, ACEC priority habitat area to this significant amount of impervious area. So if anything that can be done with the landscaping to enhance the ecological resources here would be great. The London plane tree is not a native tree. You're using a lot of monotypical species with the tree plantings that are proposed here. So if you can diversify and use all native trees along McPherson Road, if there could be a little bit more of a rewilding of that streetscape, the area between the parking lot and the roadway, so that it, mimics, a more natural environment and provides more ecosystem services. And of course, the important shade trees and more of a diversity of trees to be more resilient to any pests or other problems that they might have to deal with. But planting the undergrowth instead of mowing that area with a diversity of native species there would be really important and would reduce the amount of maintenance and the cutting around those trees. And then, just the comment about the organic potential for the landscaping, the infiltration basin is like this rectangle that, just doesn't seem to have much of an aesthetic design to it. And, like enhancing that planting plan and making it more diverse and serving more of an ecosystem function there, I think would be desirable as well. And, since this is a town project, if folks would like to, have a discussion, I'd be happy to, discuss this further with Katie or Dan or Matt or anybody. I just really wanted to comment because I think, there's a huge opportunity here to do better in service of a critical ecosystem area as designated by the ACEC, the priority habitat. And one other thing that I was just curious about was that I don't see like the restoration plan for the area where the utility connections will be made. And I guess that may have been a separate project that I didn't see. So that might be, another question. Just the restoration of that corridor where the utility connections will be made is something that I was curious about, ensuring that that's done well and, reducing the risk for introduction of invasive species and things like that. And then, more native plantings. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
So, in terms of the,
Sure. Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah, I get a lot when there's a lot out there, but
I know.
respectfully, I guess through the chair, if there's specific questions you have from that, or I can answer all of them.
So specifically in terms of the MIPA, do you want me to turn it over to Dan or to you? For that?
Yeah, MIPA is not my scope, but I've been
that's
at the very beginning, but that's about it. So
Dan, I'm going to turn this over to you in terms of the MIPA.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, so MIPA, environmental permitting for this project. So we have the building committee has a work group. So it's pieced off Katie, Ken, myself, the architect and the OPM. And the work group is in charge of details and getting certain tasks complete for the project. And one of them is environmental permitting. So from that, the work group's been working on the MIPA for a while now. We've had a couple meetings with the MIPA folks, Jennifer Hughes at EEA. And so right now we are in the process of submitting our MIPA permit application. And what it will be is it's called an EENF and with a rollover EIR. I'm just throwing acronyms out there for the heck of it. No, but there's it's a pretty detailed process, and the project does fall within an environmental justice block, unfortunately, so it triggers an EIR automatically for the project, which is an environmental impact report. So it's pretty detailed permitting. So right now there was in late April a public meeting for the process, which is the beginning portion. And basically that public meeting then triggers a timeline of the permit application being able to be submit from May 30th up until about, the middle of June. There's a 45-day window to submit the permit. So the MIPA permit will go in within that window, and we're aiming to do it sooner to keep the process moving. As part of this too, Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program, the Blandings turtle is a known species out there of concern. And so we are in the process. We do have a permit submitted currently with Natural Heritage, and we're working through that. Guys, sorry. Sorry. And so, yeah, Natural Heritage, so we're in the process with them, and we've had several meetings. So those environmental permits are are in process. And you did mention as well, I can see it on here, the, the electrical connection for the project will go south of the site and connect to an existing power line corridor. And so that's included in the permitting of the environmental permitting of the project as well. So that is as well being handled through that process. So currently that's the status. It's in process. I don't have the schedule all in front of me right now. I don't know if any of the others do, but no. But yeah, that's where it stands. So we're moving forward with those permits which are applicable.
And just to clarify, MIPA is not a requirement of the site plan approval. The decision will be conditioned on the MIPA permit, but
review.
Yeah,
it's a preview, I believe.
Yeah, they issue you a permit at the end.
Okay.
It's a secretary's letter
It's a letter.
of determination,
Yeah, but yeah.
which can have recommendations, requirements, conditions. And I
Correct.
do really feel like it would make sense for the planning board to hold, the decision until after the secretary's determination is made, just because, if you have changes, then it just adds more process, more cost for more consultants to attend more meetings. Just things to think about. I don't see that there's an advantage to getting a site plan before the MIPA determination.
I do. Okay, so do you want to comment on the parking lot trees and why we spent literally months talking about the safety of the parking lot?
Yeah.
things
So
like that?
the speaker's correct. We did not individually survey each tree just because there's a forest of them out there. What we tried to do is condense the site as tight as we could to minimize the cutting on the perimeter. We first thing that we did is in the upper left is a detention basin. It's almost like a detention basin plus. There's a specific design to that addresses the turtles, but it also, we looked at where the stormwater is going, and the majority of it's going to Bishop Road. So we're required to slow it down and address the peak, how fast it comes off, but not the volume. On Bishop Road, we could have put a lot more volume onto Bishop Road as it goes now, but there's nothing on Bishop Road to collect it. There's no catch basins, there's no swales. It just it's a free-for-all once it gets there. So we over-designed that basin and made it larger more of a benefit to the DPW and the town. So we're not just dumping stuff that going there now and just saying, well, it goes there now, deal with it. So it's larger and holds it back. The side slopes are a little more gentle. So when a turtle gets in there, they can get back out. So
Talk about the seniors as well.
and well, we joke about the seniors, but
there's
it's a safe base, and the seniors aren't going to drive through there. It's got safeguards. So the basin has engineering requirements that typically, exceed what it's required. Now, if this was a Walmart parking lot, we would have parking spaces head to head with a line separating it. On this particular one, and we don't want the users to find their way through drives and parking lots. So we have 3 sidewalks in the middle of the site that bring them to crosswalks and bring them to curb cuts to get them there safely. The flip side of that is you cannot have sheet flow of stormwater going across sidewalks without putting additional catch basins. So there's probably twice as many catch basins on this. Catch basins require manholes and underground piping, and those are under the landscape islands. So we did plant all the landscape islands, but they're shrubs that don't have huge root balls that would grow over time with trees and go into the piping system below it. So as a trade-off, we kept the site very tight, and on the side slopes, we do actually have limits of disturbance. It's shown on the site prep plan, which is the first site plan shown. Nope, keep going a little. Yeah, right there. I'm sorry. Yep. So on the edge, there's a line that you see coming down around the site that says limit of disturbance. And there's a silt fence that goes there. So typically when they stake the silt fence out, then they put the silt fence in before any trees are cut whatsoever. That gives the town the ability to look at where that is, and if it's going right through a 12-inch oak, then we slide it around and say save that oak. So there's checks and balances on that. One of the comments that we got back on the side slopes is, look, can you not put grass that you have to mow? So we looked at that. One of the changes, we have New England seed mix wildflowers on all the side slopes in the basin and on the side, so it's nice to look at. It provides habitat. In the DPW at the end of the day doesn't have to put mowers out there with gas. So those type of things. And I do appreciate the comments, but the landscape architect thought of a lot of that as we went.
Thank you.
That's if that addresses the board's concerns.
It does for me. Thank you. Any other comments?
I don't see any hands.
I will take a.
Just one other
yes,
comment
please,
there,
sir. Yes.
and I know I'm not the traffic engineer, and we're kind of stuck in that quandary of to hire a traffic. To your point, you're going out there, you're doing trip counts, you're waiting for the buses to, a couple more weeks you're not going to have buses. So what do you do, right? Because you have to know where they're going. You have a lot of this is predicated on guesses. There is a science to it, but you have to guess where they're going to come from, and at the end of the day, no one's coming to the senior center at all unless there's a program, right? So working with Katie, part of that letter that was submitted was, look, this is a municipal project. If it's a problem at 9 o'clock because that traffic intersection has issues, move that program from 9 to 11:30. So it's a municipal project. You have the ability to work with your director to move things around. So, it may not be the best intersection, but if it starts to tweak and saying it's going to be bad, then you get on the phone with Katie, you have a meeting, and you move programs. I've done a lot of senior centers. We don't do big traffic studies because they don't compete with work. They don't compete with school. So there is going to be more people coming. Are they already on the road? Maybe, maybe not. But you're in a good position to accept it with the caveat that you have 100% control over it. You're not going to, I guarantee you that intersection is not going to explode with issues once this is built. But if there is a tweaking, change a program, and you guys are all on the same page on that.
Good. Thank you. All right. I will take a continuance.
I'll make a motion that we continue the site plan review off Bishop Road for the Senior Center map 25 parcel 23 and the stormwater management permit
To the next meeting.
to the next meeting,
June
June
9th.
9th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So we'll continue this discussion on the 9th.
Yes.
Project status update, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim.
Alright, 1 second.
Bye, John. Bye, Katie.
Alright.
Oh, yeah, right.
Let me just one for Lincoln Hill. So on Lincoln Hill, the pressure testing of the sewer and water is complete. Water quality test has passed. The water service connection on High Street is complete, being backfilled today, as of today. High Street extension is scheduled to be paved tomorrow. It is going to be patch paved at this time and will be a full mill and pave after construction is done. The slope and the retention wall are currently being worked on and scheduled to be completed this week. Received plan and approval from National Grid. Electrical trenching is starting next week. Spreading of loam and seeding the easement area is on 2-week look ahead. Utility connection work on Groton Hubbard Road is tentatively scheduled for Thursday of this week. She said that she will see an email once that is confirmed. Week of June 22nd is the target for binder paving for the roads. They have applied for 2 building permits and are expecting them to be issued this week. Foundations are scheduled for next week. They said that the major site work is wrapping up. Onyx is hoping to be done by June/July. And then one additional thing was that Onyx is working with Green International on the construction of the retention pond. They've installed a clay barrier last week and are working on the bottom. The Coltech system is done and inspected.
Great, thank you.
We tried to have a site visit. You were apprehensive because the work was going on, extensively blasting and so forth.
Yes.
Are we prepared to have a site visit now? Take a look.
Yeah, so if the board wants to have a site visit as like we did with Stratton Hill, we can do one like that, or I can individually go with board members when they have the time.
Okay.
You know, they're always open to having whatever board members go out there and go on site. I just would need to let them know that you're going to go out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have no issues with the board going on site. I mean, Heather and I go out there very frequently. They're very welcoming. They have no issues. They just want to make sure that everyone is safe.
Makes sense.
Okay. I'll let you know. Thanks.
Yeah, so just if you want to let me know when you guys want to go out there. If you want to go out there, I can let them know, and then so they're ready for you.
So to avoid posting it, would have to be no more than 2 of us at a time.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, excellent.
Anything more on the Sawyer? The site, I mean, the building is up and running, but the site,
I can check with Mike on that. I haven't really. They haven't really been. They've been focused on most of the internal portion of the building, so a lot of the other stuff has kind of just been lagging far behind. They still are working on some stuff for the force main. They still have to install that. The new force main. They still have to, there's still some wetland stuff that they need to do. So they're still a ways out. I know they're looking for. I mean, temporary occupancies. We have been approached by Bay State about final as-built, but they're still kind of a ways away before they're even getting to that point.
anything on your friends at Park Street?
So actually, I reached out to them. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. They did respond to us that they're currently working on scheduling with their engineer and the actual site guy to get out there and start doing the work. So they're in the process of getting that all scheduled.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Any
sir.
update on our lovely sewer pump? on Wright Road.
I don't normally check with Matt on that one unless you
I know, I
ask
was
me
kind of
to.
hoping he was sticking around. So
So
the
I
question
will
no one has
ask.
been able to answer in months.
Is
And
National
I'm
Grid?
thinking of our residents who are just understandably frustrated with our 7 to 7 noise hours. This thing goes wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. Like the beeping is out of
Okay.
control.
Okay.
Isn't it
We're waiting on National Grid.
Yeah, that was the last update. That was the last
So
update.
we're getting lost in the weeds. Yes, I'm well aware. I
Yeah.
could tell everyone the whole story of why
Yeah.
this project has been waiting. But what it means is there's been a generator, a
Yeah.
large generator, running all winter in our backyard.
Yep.
Not just mine, but the residents that are next to it. I am a couple houses removed and listened to this lovely thing all winter. And now we would like to open our windows. And even in the winter, we listen to, I won't make the noise again, but you just heard what the alarm
Yes.
sounds like. What we cannot understand, and I have asked before, the alarm sounds concerning. The alarm sounds like you should do something about it. The alarm sometimes will go off for nights on end.
Okay.
Sometimes people show up we've seen them in the middle of the winter at like 1 a.m. to come. Sometimes it just goes off on its own.
Right, so
So I understand, and it would be nice to be more brief, but I've asked this 3 times, and so I'm just gonna ask for the residents, and not just me, and my neighbors have been asking.
Yeah.
Why does it beep? We know why National Grid is not here. We
I
would
don't
like
know
to know.
why, but I can get an answer.
Thank you. That's the one we would like.
Is it enclosed?
No,
That's a temporary generator.
it's a temporary
It's just
generator.
temporary.
Since October.
That's the problem.
That runs.
So they can't put a fence around it temporarily to
It doesn't stop
Quiet.
beeping.
it quiets it down though. Believe me, guys.
It's okay. Just
When I worked with Uncle Sam, we used to sandbag the generators all as high as the generator.
So that
and
it
5
would
feet away, you
dis-
couldn't even
it
hear
would
it.
dissipate
oh, I
the
wish
noise.
you were
Went
here
up.
6 months ago.
Yeah,
It
But
I
it's-
can
Went
I can
straight up
talk
as
to
opposed
Matt
to-
about it. I don't normally
We're
check
so
in onto
close.
that.
I understand. We've been close for a while.
No. I agree with you. I
Why
don't normally check in on that project because that's not under my purview.
Okay.
But I can talk to Matt about that.
Thank you.
Close. Only counts on hand grenades, horseshoes, and atomic warfare.
there you go.
It's true.
Okay. Anything else on updates?
There's potentially a couple of projects that are going to be coming to the board. So we have 2 meetings, I believe it's this week. One for Thursday this week. For 44 Park Street. We have one for 44 Park Street, which is the lot, the red building next to 42, the old laundromat. It's now they're looking to change that to a consignment shop. Is that the right word, or antique
I
shop?
think it's like a
Oh,
vintage
they're already doing
market
that.
consignment.
Well, but they don't have so they're coming. They're going to be coming to us.
Cool.
Resale.
They're doing some parking stuff, and so there's a ramp that they have to add. So there's stuff like that. The other project is the Old Town Village. They are going to be building. There's a proposal for a new building to go up, 32 units, parking associated with it. We have a meeting with them on Thursday as well, as a pre-application meeting, just to kind of go through initial comments, concerns, questions that we may have. So that's going to be coming down the pipeline as well.
Good.
In terms of other projects, there is another one that could be potentially coming down on 190 West Main Street. That one, I'm hoping to meet with the owners in the coming weeks. And to inform the board, we're currently working on a one-stop application to submit for the Catalyst Fund. Where we are going to request funds to bring the Park Street plans to full design. And as part of that, 3 to 5 Park Street has been helping as the leverage project on that, as well as 63 Main Street provided some letters of support, which is going to be very helpful for us.
Okay.
We're nearing the point where we think we'll be submitting. And then in terms of, I will be going to the housing conference in Texas, Dallas, Texas. It's on June 1st and June 2nd. It's affordable housing, and there's going to be 2 days of classes and stuff like that, kind of like the last one I went to, and I'll update the board as to what I learned from that as well.
Terrific. Good.
Are you going there?
All right.
Send me the phone thing.
All right. How about, is that it?
That's all I've got right now.
So, someone to approve the minutes, a motion for the minutes?
Yes. So, did you have a chance to look those? Okay. So
Yeah, Julie,
it would be
just
you
these
three on this motion, on this vote.
I'll make a motion that the Air Planning Board approve the meeting minutes of April 14th,
As edited.
as edited by the chair.
Seconded.
Any further discussion? No. Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Minutes are approved.
How does that work?
So 2 abstentions.
And these two, they're officially
Not eligible.
because you weren't there.
So we
Yeah.
still need three
Three.
yeses
It's
in
a-
order
it's
to
a-
pass the motion.
Yes, it's a majority.
And it wouldn't matter because you only have 3 voting members,
Schedule
you
the
really only
sidewalk
need
for
2.
June 1st.
Yeah. So it would only really be
You
2.
can ask it because I've asked a lot of
Because of the
questions.
Yep.
He's got a good one.
We scheduled a site walk for June 1st. If you're
Well,
gonna
I
be in
can-
Texas, how are you gonna be at the site walk?
Oh.
Thank you.
8:30,
I totally forgot about that.
I was gonna say.
Thank you for letting me.
You said it
I was
first,
actually
but I was
thinking you don't usually step
That's-
on things like that, so I'm
That
not
is
gonna
a-
ask that question.
That is a
but
good
I was
question.
like,
I didn't
huh?
even. It just didn't hit me.
I was gonna mention it after the meeting.
I'll talk to Heather. She can.
As long as it's 8:30, I
Yeah,
can be there, which it is, so I can be there.
Heather can run that. I'm not too worried about that. Thank you. Thank you for
I
reminding
mean,
me.
that's a really quick trip if you're gonna do the site.
Yeah.
Do the
Didn't catch
site walk and then get on a jet and fly.
All right.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I got a second? Second? All right. Have a good evening, everyone, and welcome,
Guys.
Peter and David.
Thank you,
Yes.
You know,
It was a good first meeting.